You know, I have one simple request, and that is to have sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. Now, evidently, my cycloptic colleague informs me that that can't be done. Can you remind me what I pay you people for? Honestly, throw me a bone here. What do we have?
Sea bass.
Right.
They are mutated sea bass.
Really? Are they ill-tempered?
Absolutely.
That's a start.
What you grab for food?
Slim Chickens.
What the hell's that?
Some new
What's Slim
chicken place in
Chickens?
town. I don't know. It's kind of like all the new chicken stores, Chick-fil-A, Cane's. We got Lane's in town with an L. I guess it was some southern chicken place, competitor of Cane's. Now we got Slim
Sounds made
Chickens.
up.
Just a bunch of chicken, fries, bread, maybe some lettuce if you're lucky.
The brown
Nice
diet.
chicken in.
Yeah. And protein
On
carb
plate
diet.
diet. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like there's too many chicken places.
There's starting to be. We used to not have any up in Wisconsin, and now all of a sudden all the good southern chicken stores are coming up here.
I remember
Used to be
when
that good beef.
yeah, I remember when Chick-fil-A came to Appleton, you would thought they just put in like some new hip restaurant that everybody needed to check out. That
Oh
place was
yeah.
just jammed 24/7
Yeah,
first
we
couple
still need
months.
a Raising Cane's up here. That's the best one, but I'm sure it'll be even in the next couple of years.
Really, you'd go Cane's over Chick?
Oh God, yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Chick-fil-A. I'll eat it, but man, I've had some dodgy pieces of chicken from there, and it'll make me kind of, not want it for a
What
couple months.
are you just
Yeah,
having
dodgy
Chick-fil-A at the
chicks.
airports or something like that, or what?
No,
Because
no,
Chick-fil-A
no.
is gas.
I mean, it's good, but it's nothing crazy.
Huh. You're just used to the
It's kind of
Minneapolis
like
ones.
it's like a I'm trying to think of like a the fast food burger comparison or something. And
This is gonna piss me off.
it, it's uh
It's about
it's
to be something
almost
really
like I
stupid.
mean I guess I don't have a lot of fast food burgers. Culver's or McDonald's is probably the only ones I really have. But
So
it's
what are you
somewhere
trying to say?
I mean Culver's burger is better quality than Chick-fil-A's chicken sandwich, and Culver's burger is much better. I would say it's somewhere slightly above McDonald's. That's where I think Chick-fil-A, they market themselves as some clean alternative. Yeah, you can probably do that with their menu, but at the end of the day, I mean,
I don't think
it's
they
really
market
just
themselves as
the
like a
quality is not
healthy
great. Oh
alternative.
God, yeah, they do. Breadless
How?
chicken bites, breadless chicken sandwiches,
Just
everything
give me
about them.
options.
Yeah, they're giving you options.
Do I like want to kind of feel better about yourself?
Yeah.
Still washing it down with some Chick-fil-A sauce, dunking those things in there in a Powerade.
See,
So
that's my thing with Cane's is their
Their sauce is
sauce
better.
is way better, yeah.
yeah, their sauce is elite. I remember when you came to
It is good.
Minnetonka last year in November, you picked up some canes for the boys,
Oh
and we
yeah.
just had a canes
We
party.
were drinking out, licking the cans of sauce afterward. I mean, that shit is glorious.
God dang. That does sound good. A little Raising Cane's. They should have one in Eagle River. Come on.
Yeah, one
But
time.
yeah, a little mention there of Minnesota waters. We made the trek last year to Minnetonka. This year we balled out and went to the old Vermilion. As some of you maybe heard from the last podcast, we did a little introduction that we were gonna head to Vermilion before we had Mr. Decam on, and we went. We conquered some. Some got the best of us, but that's what we're gonna recap today on episode 128. I might have said that in the next one. I did just hop down with the Taps and Tackle boys. We recorded a live podcast on the pontoon boat. Look for that one next week. Highly encourage you guys to check that one out. That's going to be a good one. Had some good people on. A new one onto the podcast and a whole new like segment. We talked about beer more than we ever have
Wow.
ever. I actually mentioned it like
Two.
after we had so I'm drinking right now an Oktoberfest lager from Central Waters Brewing Company. We had one of the owners on the pontoon boat when I was down there, And after like chatting about brewing and beers for a little bit, I was like, I think we surpassed by a lot the most we've ever talked about beer on this podcast ever. And half of the name of it and logo has beer tappers on it.
Yeah, we went on a good stretch with at least saying what's on tap for the night, and then quickly disappeared to forgetting to mention that every pod. So I do gotta ask you, Gus, and I don't want to spoil it. You can decline to answer, but did you catch a fish during the recording of that pod?
We unfortunately did not catch one
Damn.
during the recording of the pod. So, sort of a spoiler, I guess. There's some excitement. We actually soaked suckers while we did the podcast, and we trolled before and after it. We caught one trolling before we recorded and after we recorded. So, nice two
Nice.
fish day. Another rip as well, but
Did you guys
unfortunately,
have
we did
a
not get one on during the pod.
did you have a game plan if that would have happened? Like if a sucker rod started peeling when you guys were recording?
Come on, you know us. Hell no.
No.
No,
All
the game
chaos.
plan was like one to two people of the four of us manage the sucker, set the hook, net it, and one, hopefully two, stay on the mic and commentate it as it's happening,
That'd
That
basically.
would have been
be good.
pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I did see on their Instagram stories they were putting up that pontoon boat rig he's got is actually way more impressive than I ever envisioned. I saw like a 50-inch TV up in the corner,
Oh yeah, yeah.
fully
That's a big flat
enclosed.
screen in the
Thick.
fully enclosed sofa room, captain's chair. At the helm. It's got some big graphs to watch, the side image and everything and mapping and all that fun stuff. It's a sick rig. They got, you know, I think Matt's the main captain of that one. Mr. Lazarski and I don't know. It was a great time. I highly recommend anybody wanting to go with a slightly larger group. I think you can take, more than three, maybe four at a time. But I mean, you control a shit pile of lines out there on the Wisconsin River, and you just comb water and have a great time. Those guys are great people. Uh, really awesome to share the boat with them.
Sweet.
Right
Yeah, it
on,
sounds like
man.
an awesome time. Excited to hear that one drop. Where do you guys want to start with our Vermilion trip recap?
What episode are we on? I mean, we gotta.
28.
I said 128.
Oh, my bad. I must have missed that. 128. Dang. That's crazy. All right. Um, yeah, I don't know. Where do you guys want to start? I mean, Big V got to go up and do it. And like Gus said, I think it was a little bit of good, a little bit of bad, a little bit in between. I mean, we could probably just kind of kick it off on the overarching, maybe a little bit broader to start out with. Brian, I'll kick it to you. I mean, you've never been up there before.
No.
Your limit of fishing Minnesota waters was legitimately Minnetonka. So very different, obviously. What were your overall thoughts on the lake? Was it kind of what you expected? Was it different?
Yeah, I mean, I got up there. I left at 5 Thursday night, so I didn't get up there till I think about midnight, up to our Airbnb on the water there. You guys got there a little bit before me, and tried to go to bed pretty quickly thereafter. I don't know, maybe by 1:30, and then we were up and at 'em the next morning at first light.
Yep.
And yeah, getting on the water there. The lakes is really interesting, and I was turned around all weekend, but after Sunday, I could kind of piece it together better in my head. But we fished primarily the east side of Vermilion, and it was a lot less kind of Canadian looking than I had envisioned in my head. It kind of reminded me more of like a Minnetonka almost, just with the lay of the land. There was more cabins than I thought would be up there. Um, but it was still a cool fishery on that side of the lake. Obviously, a lot of rock humps, rocky shorelines, rocky points that we were fishing, which was expected. So Cool structure under the water on the east side. Above the water was slightly underwhelming, but it felt good to be out there, and we had great weather the first 2 days. And not to jump ahead too much, but Sunday we went to the west side of the lake for a half day, and that was like more gorgeous, kind of Canadian to what I had expected with those rocky cliff shorelines, and felt really cool over on that side of the lake. So. Yeah, I mean, I we started with Mr. Clayton Speece in our boat on Friday morning. He was jumping in with us for I don't know what it was, hour or two, while we were waiting on Becker and Levi to get up with their boat. And it's our first spot of the morning. Gus, I don't know what made you land on that spot to start.
Pretty much 100% owe that credit to Clayton. Spot on the map that looks fantastic, and we were going to start where, we didn't exactly look at prior to going up and whatnot, or the late night before, just checking maps and all that stuff. But Clayton's like, we got to go here. Let's give this a shot. I was up here in July. The spot was pretty solid. Let's rip it. I'm like, okay, I've never fished that spot. We'll just kind of stick around the rock hump and cast her right up onto it. Should be hopefully as simple as that. And I don't know, Brian, if you, so that's, pretty much, like I said, owe it to Clayton on the spot. Good chunk rock, lot of rock on it. What was going through your head on your first catch that morning? Bait choice, what was it? How were you working it? How
Yeah,
finessey were you? What was
a
going
lot
on?
vary, but I don't remember exactly what I was throwing prior. I feel like it was my first bait change of the day is when I put on
Oh
the
yeah,
XL dipstick. Just, per usual, reading conditions, thinking outside the box a little bit. Found myself grab the blue and orange bellied. I don't even know what you what you would call that color. Um,
hot Cisco,
Hot
maybe
Cisco. Yeah.
like an orange belly Cisco.
Yeah, it felt right out there. Everybody kept talking about whitefish, Cisco, primary diet. I'm like, okay, so pull that thing out. And the whole weekend, this was kind of we kept going back and forth with each other, but we have pounders, ultra dogs, all these giant baits at our feet, kind of just scattered around the boat. And we're like, man, like a reg dog looks puny. Like you could throw it on a regular spin rod. And this XL dipstick that I threw back in like June felt giant at the time, like too big to catch a muskie. And now it feels not big enough. So our whole scale was thrown off. But I threw it, felt like we needed something. We kept hearing, from other guys, from you guys, from other people in the area that have fished it, YouTube videos that you need like a long pause with these fish, especially, late season like this, and to get something that'll kind of sit in their face. So ripping the diving rise, and um, I don't know if I threw a cast yet, but Clayton had like snagged on a rock. And he finally got it out and he turned and he went down to the bottom of the boat to grab a hook sharpener. So I did my little Chinese fire drill and stumbled my way to the bow of the boat and took a big cast off the front. And yeah, probably about 5 rips in. It was pretty funny timing because I'm just like rip, pause. And like as I go into my next rip, Gus in the back of the boat goes, "Oh, Brian!" And like as he's saying that, I'm setting the hook. And, it was pretty funny. I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, yeah, yeah!" And it was a good fight, and it didn't feel giant at first. It just felt like a really nice fish, and brought it up, and yeah, the thing was almost as wide as it was long. It was just probably ate a big whitefish the night before or something, had a nice winter belly on it. And yeah, started off,
Plump.
I guess that was probably 30, 45 minutes in to our Friday, and I caught that 41. So that was a great start.
Very, very good start. A little tidbit on the story to add there. So, when you said that I said out loud as you're setting the hook, like, oh, Brian, which is hilarious. So we ran the old live scope, all weekend because we wanted to check out the rock bars and keep it on it. We were pounding right up to the tops of the rock bars or right off the steep edges. And I pretty much kept it for this weekend, pointed always like forward at an angle on the side we were casting, not the Canadian side, but like right up on the rock bar. And I kept it pretty far forward because a lot of these, I mean, shit, we like the whole weekend, we fished a lot of brand new stuff to Max and I. Because we only fished it just a little bit in the PMTT back in 2023, and we fish it, I would say, a little bit differently. And I wanted to make sure these steep edges didn't like sneak up on me because the mapping on Navionics with the Garmin's are okay. They give you an idea of where they're at. So, uh, long story short, pretty much was looking up, and all of a sudden, like, Brian's bait came into the cone, and I see nothing. I mean, that thing is diving. The XL dipstick that Adam makes, it goes down about 10 feet. By the time you got to your fifth rip or so, I mean, it was pretty early in the cast, and you were just hovering it, and I see what just forms out of the rock bar from the bottom, just a straight vertical line, just combined with your lure. And I'm
Flying.
like, oh, Brian. And you know how, for those that have used a live scope, it's delayed very, very, just a touch. So like, as I'm seeing that, the fish probably already ate,
But I was like
damn
I
near.
was like at my pause. So like by the time he
Yes.
said it and I started my next rip is when I felt it. So it was like immediate.
It's no matter what is gonna eat. But yeah, fired up fish right on moon, like right on peak. So I'm happy we did get out for that. I wonder if there's something going on just before light, but we were all tired. We got up late and hung out, had a beer or two, and got started when we did. But that was a great start to
If
the
I got
trip.
up, if I got up late, he meant the night before, and I got up late in the morning and had a beer or two, and then went out.
That's
That's a
what it
good
did sound
call.
like for a
Yeah,
second.
like hold on.
Ayo, that didn't roll off the tongue like I thought it would. So, but
Good
no,
catch.
a lot of high fiving. Brian, that is officially your first leecher, first Minnesota fish ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see, definitely. It's super white. If we caught a fish like that in northern Wisconsin, we'd be like, all right, this thing's on its deathbed. Like it's got some disease, but super blonde fish. Not like that spotted, but I think in the picture you can just see like white belly just continues up the side of the fish and yeah,
No.
obviously.
Who?
Huh?
Oh, I was just gonna say like, yeah, no, it's not really spot or whatever. Who was saying that like Vermilion damn near has its own freaking strain? Was that Clayton maybe? Like they're
Probably.
leechers, spotted, but
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't look anything really like Tonka fish or,
oh
any of the
no.
other lakes that we fish, any of the Cass, Bemidji stuff. They don't
They're a
look anything like
blend of
those.
like pure spotted leechers and then like Canadian Shield Lake
Yeah.
fish. They have the color of a leecher, but they have like way less spots and sometimes no
Yeah.
spots.
I wonder if it's just the watercolor or
It's
Yeah.
something.
A
darker.
little deeper, darker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
it was a cool fish and it was good to catch it right away. And I said as I released it, like, hopefully this isn't the curse where you catch one right away and then don't see anything. We're like, no. This Vermilion, they're chomping today. Conditions did seem perfect, going into the weekend and all weekend. So we had a lot of optimism going forward.
Yeah, what do we have to start? Like 48, 49 degree water temps, maybe 48-ish.
48, yeah, maybe 47 even.
Yeah, it
I
started to
guess they
drop through
dropped a
the
little,
weekend.
yeah. Yeah.
It dropped by Sunday with the wind kick up and multiple cold-ish nights in a row. It got to like 31 to 33 each night, but no, spot one, awesome. Went around it. By the time we got done, these spots on Vermilion are pretty damn big. Got through that hour, dropped Clayton off back at the cabin, stayed at an Airbnb on the water. He went and hopped in with Becker and Levi, Ryan Becker, and they set off in their separate ways. We stayed in touch so that we didn't. So when we were on fish, we knew that they were kind of going, and like if we wanted to hit a certain area, we weren't like, what would you say, stepping on each other's toes or just like re-hitting the same spot accidentally, like 30 minutes later, whether we knew it or not.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, we're on the east side. They went a little bit more east. We went a little bit more west, and um, did we? So Max, you made the call to go fish an island that we did not fish, nor could we fish in the PMTT because of the wind. And that's when, Brian, your first cast on the spot, you raised one on, I don't know what you were using anymore. Maybe a pounder, Mag Dog.
Um,
Oh,
God,
Susie.
I don't. Is this, yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
because we had heard from them, or was it before that?
I don't know if Clayton said that like he brought some Susies and you had an idea, or maybe they said they raised one or two on them already, or pounders or something like that. And for sure, both of those. I think they said they're already having action on Susies and pounders. So you put on a Susie, Max put on a pounder, and the first cast on the spot when we approached the island, we're like, well, this piece of structure looks pretty good off of it, and I think we idled until they saw rocks in the side image, and he just chucked it out there, and that was the first actual fall that we had, which is a good sign because I think it took. What did we do? We fished like two or three spots before that. You know, those two islands over there, and then that other little like island off of the big island kind of area, and then we side imaged them, saw them on live, but none of them were really interacting. And then finally, this one comes right up to the boat, and we're like, okay, that's a pretty good sign. And then we meander our way down this island on the wind-blown side, and then Max, you can take it from here. You had the next excitement here.
Yeah, first big fish encounter of the weekend.
Yep.
I don't
Allegedly.
know. This year I'm just immune to the
Right. Here we
Giants.
go.
Yeah, a little bit of bickering back and forth in the boat, but yeah, I did get absolutely throttled. Um, and yeah, it was just a bummer, It was we kind of knew that like we were gonna get our chances every day, but didn't really know like what to expect as far as like how many bites
When?
should we expect today? When are we gonna get these fish? I mean, we were completely off moon for whatever reason. I don't know why it took me by surprise, but yeah, just got throttled, headed on for a couple head shakes, felt really big on a historic big fish spot. Uh, that one island that doesn't have any trees on it. And it was
He who
a
should not be named. Pretty
yeah,
obvious,
it's
yeah.
absolute crime scene. Yeah, it was one of those ordeals where when you're out on Vermilion, the cool thing about being on a lake like that is at any moment, really, you could catch an absolute freak. And it definitely you feel like kind of the nerves on that because, obviously when you're fishing in northern Wisconsin and whatnot, you might come across a mutant every once in a while, a couple times a year maybe. But when you're out there this time of year on Vermilion, you're like, man, it could happen at any cast. And that was definitely an opportunity for a really big fish. Unfortunately, it didn't get into the net. But yeah, when you lose one out there, man, that sinking feeling in your stomach is pretty real because you just don't know how many more opportunities you're gonna get over the next day and a half. So anytime that happens, you're just like really wish I could have that cast back, So wouldn't be the last time that happened to me this weekend, but
Oh boy.
that's just kind of the way she goes. I mean, Friday I think, was a lot of trying to figure out what these fish were using and where they were, really staging to eat. I think there was definitely a pretty big difference on where they were just chilling and where they were actually staging to eat. And I would say it took us a good, if we started at around 8 o'clock that morning, it took us a good bit on Friday to really figure out where those fish were actually sitting, that they were interacting with baits a little bit more. I mean,
We saw a pattern.
we definitely started to kind of get a pattern going. It was like, and Gus, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't, mind sharing because there's so many spots out there, but it was like if the rock, the chunk rock that Gus was looking for the entire time, if it had that, we were really kind of trying to just find that like almost 10 to like 15-foot zone of trunk rock where it wasn't a super steep break, where it was more like flat. And that was seemed to be where those fish were
Especially
staged.
especially on like if the structure of chunk rock had some sort of a point or secondary point that led into like deeper water.
Yeah,
It
it's
like for a
always the
while
secondary point.
it was clockwork. It was like, oh, we get to the tip of
Always.
this rocky point, bam, moved one.
Bam, there's a fish. Yeah, it was like once we figured that out, then we could start spot hopping and replicating that because there's so much rock out there where you could just fish rock spot after rock spot after rock spot. But the spots, when you're looking at them, on Navionics or like on a map, you're like, oh, that doesn't look that big. Like that little hump doesn't look that big. And then you get out there and like Brian was saying, your scale is just so kind of messed up. And you're like, man, this spot would take an hour and a half to run if we wanted to run the whole thing. So once we kind of realized like where they were sitting on the spots, we were able to just kind of go to a spot right away and be like, okay, we're just fishing this little extended bar and then these rocks. And it was like, boom, there's where the
We
fish were.
I would say, unless we did a couple of those spots we fished were pretty long, whether it was around an entire island or a complex. Otherwise, I think you guys would agree on this. A lot of our encounters of like a hot fish or some of the catches were like within 5 casts of the spot because we were
Yeah,
starting like on the spot, on spot,
right.
basically. And yeah, we figured that out because I was just looking back on text, Max. You lost that one on Friday around like noonish. So it took, we were still trying to pattern them together. To start that morning, there was definitely fish right below us. We were too far onto the spot a lot, and it wasn't that windy. I was just not used to where to fish. I didn't, some of these spots you had to keep your boat like, rocks are different than weeds. Like it is to your benefit to stay a lot further off of them than you think, for sure. But there were a couple fish on the tippy tops of some of the really shallow spots, but otherwise, like yeah, we stayed off of them. Boat was in 18 to 30 plus feet of water at all times, pretty much to find these fish. But the extensions were key. Um, or what I would add for tips here? When we were looking around, it was like if you looked on your Navionics or your map chip, whatever graph, if those little 1 foot contours were super tight together and really really steep, high chance it was chunk rock. A lot of times it also would end up being that flat rock where you can kind of just see as
Slate.
like a full slate flat rock. That's okay to pour, but if there's chunk rock on top of it or next to it, it would hold a muskie. Um, and then the gradual lines pretty much were guarantee it was sand or gradual like scattered pebbles, boulders, like and that held some fish on some spots, but it was the broken chunk, big boulder piles. Like when your side image screen looks like it's all fucked up, that's that's the good stuff. When there's
Yeah.
Right.
jagged pieces sticking around and anywhere that those fish can hide and ambush from, that's the best rock, pretty much.
Yeah.
Go,
Yeah.
go.
And go ahead, Brian.
I was just gonna go back to your fish because, like we're saying, I mean, we found that pattern where this chunk rock that goes into a point, we'd constantly be moving fish off the tip. Not nearly as much on like the inner side of the point or whatever, but Max's, big fish that hit, swung and missed. It was on like a very unassuming side of an island, with like minimal chunk rock, although it was on a chunk rock. It was just like a very small part of the island that didn't have like an extended rock bar or anything. And we were kind of like at the end of that drift or gonna kind of speed around to the backside of the island. And his fish was just, sitting in this little cluster of rocks. So leads me to like, I mean, it piques my curiosity with the whole rest of the lake. It's like there's rocks on, I'm assuming vast majority of the shorelines. There's a ton of rocky points, a ton of this chunk rock structure, and we didn't even fish, a fraction of it. So like if you really got out there in your
Hmm.
own boat and had a ton of time to adventure and just fish all these different rock spots, I mean, there's probably giant fish hiding everywhere. Um, but obviously, there's some more congregate areas and spent our time probably more wisely just targeting these A1 spots. But
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Yeah, and I don't think we got another bite on Friday, but I think we did move a good amount more fish, and it definitely helped us. Like when you're on these trips, like couple days, you're fishing the same lake. The nice part is if you have day two, day three, you can kind of start to put a pattern together and then like really kind of hone in on it day two. And so, Friday I think was probably the harder of the days to actually get bites for whatever reason. I think the pressure was, kind of on the rise a little bit.
We had a storm roll
The
through.
the bite window seemed pretty tight.
Storm rolled like a
Yeah,
little
that's right. It was
sleet
right after that.
shower right after your bite, and then it rolled through, and that's what killed
Yeah,
it for
right.
us and the other boat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, good call, Gus. Yeah, we had like a sleet storm roll through, so right before that we got the big bite, and then pretty predictable. And then yeah, the air kind of just lifted, and it just kind of got tough. And I don't think we saw a bunch more fish, but we just didn't really like, weren't really on them. So I think Friday was a little bit of a discovery day, and like Gus said, the fun part about fishing Vermilion and kind of going into it a little bit more blind and being able to fish the whole lake when it's not windy is you're just exploring spots. Like we just were hitting spot after spot after spot, fishing super hard, and gave us a lot to go back on Saturday. And I think we woke up Saturday, the weather was a lot better. Um, Everything just kind of felt like, okay, I think we're going to be able to get some chances today.
The thing with Friday too, I mean, yeah, you'd say like post front of that storm that kind of rolled across, but even before that, we had the two bites, but we didn't. I don't think we had a single visual follow all day on Friday. Um, I didn't see a single fish up at the boat, so I mean, maybe if you might have seen like a flash of a follow or something, but like they weren't showing themselves. They either ate out in the cast, which was just twice, or they were super slow follows that we maybe caught on side image or live scope. Um, so I don't know. I think that going into Saturday then, so Friday night when we got back to the cabin, we are kind of debriefing. We were all like, oh, tomorrow they're gonna pop off. Like, they were kind of negative to neutral Friday, didn't want to show themselves, and then Saturday's kind of was the calm before the storm. Sunday there was huge winds in the forecast, and we're like, all right, this is setting up to be a killer on Saturday.
Yeah, and it really could have been. I mean, we got out there, I think right away the first 10 minutes of fishing, we had a super hot fish up. Um, those vermilion fish, man, they're really good at not eating bait sometimes. Like no
Yeah.
matter what you're doing at the boat, I don't know
Hmm.
if there's people that fish vermilion a bunch more probably could give us some pointers on boat side maneuvers with these fish, maybe what they like. But yeah, they were definitely having no issues showing themselves on Saturday. So we
That was weird. That's the weird part too, where I like go back and forth in my head is like, so flip switch overnight, and now these fish are willing to come party in the eight with us, and then you hear of people and other guys we were with where it's like, oh, they're scared of the live scope, or it's too much pressure throughout the season, and like these fish are too smart now. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't have enough experience to put my finger on it, but it's like overnight their, personality, the fish totally changed and they were willing to come up to the boat. So does it just take, the right weather for them to be suicidal on baits? I don't know. I mean, is it pressure? We don't have enough experience to say, but it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't put my finger on it exactly outside of I think it was just, a little bit heavier air, a little bit I think pressure was declining on Saturday. Just kind of had some weather factors that were in our favor.
North wind now, and
Yeah,
maybe
north
slightly
wind.
northwest rather than northeast east.
Yeah, we had an east wind on Friday, which I don't know from what I've heard from people that they don't like that wind out there, but to each their own. Um, Yeah, a little better wind. Just the weather in general set up better, I think, on Saturday. And yeah, started the day off hot. I mean, we were moving fish, I think damn near every spot we went back to. Um, these fish were showing themselves. So it really felt like it was just kind of a matter of time on Saturday. I think Gus, you got the party started on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, or was that after I missed another big fish, I believe. I think I might have gotten the first bite that day.
You got the first bite that day on a spot we had some history in 2023 with. You can explain that here in a second. I'll get right back to that. On a part of the bar we never saw fish actually, and of course being in, November 1st now. We fished it a little bit further out than we did in the summer. But no, that morning we had fish flying in. That's the morning where we found the spot where there was five on it. We raised three visually, two other graph follows in like 12 minutes on
Yeah.
one spot. And the two that didn't come to the boat were when I saw somebody's bait come flying off of the bar and two muskies come flying after the bait. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that
This
spot was
bar
a little
is
weird.
juiced. And we called that, what did we call that spot? Like
I think it was
just
just our pets.
the pet
Yeah.
spot. And we'll talk about the pet spot more a little bit later on Saturday. But no, we went back to some stomping grounds of 2023. Saw a mega on the graphs on one of the spots. We saw a bunch pre-fishing in 2023. That one did not go nor come to the boat. That was like the first one where we were like, "Hey, what the hell? Why aren't you coming to the boat? It's Saturday. Weather's good."
Right.
Not cool, man. And then we went to the shallower spot. Yeah, Max, you threw on a glider because it was a shallower spot. Boat was more in like 12 to 18 at times, casting up into 2 to 7 maybe, I'd say. And yeah, you got a little bitey bite on a phantom.
Yeah, 10-inch Phantom, pink belly 10-inch Phantom, sweet bait.
Lovely.
Yeah, I got bad beef with that spot, man. I'm 0 for 2 on big fish on that spot. For those of you who
Is that where your mega whale came from?
yeah, for those of you who remember my overly exaggerated fish I lost in the
Megalodon?
PMT at the Megalodon as I call her. The one I lost with 10 minutes left in the tournament. That was that spot. So 0 for 2 on big bites in that spot. Next time I go back to Vermilion, I will be fishing that spot. Probably, they say third time's a charm, but let's be real,
Oof.
probably gonna end up going 0 for 3 there. Um,
Damn.
yeah, we'll see, we'll see. But yeah, no, that one stung again. I was down bad. I think still having some fun, but man, oh man, I got the two bites of the two biggest fish so far the trip, and both um, just did not do the thing. So,
Then we
you're
then we had to,
uh,
sit Max down and
hmm
kind of
hmm
pick his chin up, and we started going through the
Mm-hmm.
whole like, maybe it's not about the fish you catch, but the
Oh,
memories you make along the way.
there was none of that going on. You were just pissed because you out in the front of the boat. You're like, God,
Yeah,
just catch it, man.
Fucking catch a
somebody
fish.
stay hooked.
So yeah, no, it was another heartbreaker. We ended up actually, I think moving that fish later on Saturday. Really slow and lazy. So if it was the same fish, we got to look at her, really nice giant Lake Vermilion fish.
Dessert.
But yeah, no, I mean Gus got the party started with actual fish hook on one of the cooler eats I've seen so far almost this year. I mean, it was sweet.
Yeah, I'm just downloading the footage to upload it probably tomorrow when it comes out. I got it today and I got it tomorrow, so I'll have to find some time maybe to edit it tonight after editing this. Sweet eat. Max put down the glider, couldn't keep it up. I don't know what you're doing, but I nabbed that from you right away and out of the back of the boat. Honestly, by this point on Saturday, I don't think I had a fish, maybe one like late follow into my bait to the boat yet. Like these fish were very, very much on the first bait through. And when we were working, if we had to work a spot fast too, it was the first or second, whether it was, a staggered out cast. So like I had to think of things to just do differently or, straight retrieve rubber, gliders, just working all sorts of different stuff. And we went to a rock complex where we raised a couple others visually. Brian had up, I remember, from the front. No, I think the two hole. Because Max, you switched to like a Suic or something like that. Turns out
They
they
didn't
did
like
not want.
this.
They did not like that. Immediately started following on the Mag Double Dog on the two hole for Brian, like really hot. And then we had a fish like kind of looking at baits as Ryan, Clayton, and Levi were pulling up to be like, "Yo, what up?" how's it going, this and that, checking on them, blah blah blah, and then they peace out, and you were like kind of half-assed about to sit down. I'm like, whoa, 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 the side of my screen's looking juicy. Look at all this rock. Look at this extension out here in the graph. Come on, let's finish out this spot. Wind's blowing in here perfectly, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Brian sits down, grabs a snack out, these little energy chews. I'm twitching the glider with one hand, putting out my other right hand, like, hey, yo, give me some of those. And then I put my hand back on the rod. I'm like, oh shit. One came up and totally swiped and missed the bait on like when I twitched it. Luckily the fish was super hot. It turned like to look away from the bait. I was trying to find it again, and then I just like twitched the phantom out into a far corner, turned, saw the bait on the death pause, and just shot right after it and just absolutely annihilated it. No questions asked. I'm like, well, that's more like it, and got that thing in the net. Nice little chunky whale of a 30 some incher or whatever. But it was sweet. Got the party started
We were
officially.
asking a couple times, like, where's all the dumb 30-inch males that'll just eat anything? Because like we hadn't
Found
seen
them.
fish. Yeah, then all of a sudden, bam, there he is.
I think like only one of like all these fish we've been raising all morning was like a 35. Otherwise, they're all like 39, 40 and bigger, 250-ish. And big fish were moving. So that was good to see. Release that. Not even to the tip of the point off of this island.
Oh,
And
hold on,
still,
hold on. When I
what do
when
we got going
I
here?
when I put on the China old double dog, like you said, I sat down to eat, and then you caught the fish. And while I was sitting to eat, Mr. Max put down his suic and grabbed my Chinese double dog that I just raised a fish on, which
Hmm.
is very important for this next
That
part of the
is
story.
actually a very, very important.
Hey, figure we just keep it in play.
Yeah.
Max realized quick after I caught the fish behind the suic again, another fish up past the Suic. I think you were probably thinking like, yep, nope, this is not the ticket around here. And also, Brian, I think he sat back down to eat after we released the fish, and then you were hanging up the bait into your rod. And I'm like, whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, buddy, end of the point here. We got at least another like 5 minutes here, and you're like, yeah, yeah, sorry. Well, I was
Very,
just
very
getting,
common thing to see in the boat.
Hmm.
yeah, a
And
little
what
little
happens
jumpy.
next is also very common when
Yeah.
Max asks to go to the next spot.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll explain in a second a little bit more, but we get to the tip, which is what we have found from all of Friday and half of Saturday, the spot on spot, like damn near a 95% guarantee a muskie's going to come from this, whether it's going to eat or not, or you see it or not. And, had the old live kind of pointed forward where Max was casting over the tip. His bait was coming over 10, 12 feet of water, something like that. I could see his bait. He's pumping the double dog in, pumping it in, and all of a sudden, as classic as it gets, just fish comes flying up out of the rocks that we had no idea about. And I'm like, well, Max, you got one coming. And as I'm saying that, he's already, because it's delayed, you're already in the figure eight, and now you can take it from here, what you saw.
I'm gonna let Brian explain it because I think that was his first encounter with a true
You stood up
Minnesota
and looked.
giant.
Yeah,
You were giving
I
me some looks. You're like, dude. You're like,
I yeah, I was
big.
sitting down, I think, and I stood up and Max is like, "Oh, here's one." And I stood up next to Max and I'm watching this thing go around and around, I don't know, a handful of times and um it was big. And Max didn't say a word for like 2 minutes even after it was following. And Gus is kind of like, I didn't really see it. I'm just looking at Gus like, I don't want to say it, but that was like, gotta be 50. I don't know what a 50 looks like. That's gotta be 50. And
It's like 52, 51.
yeah, just a big blondie,
So
glowing in the
hot.
water.
Just
Yeah.
would not eat. Everything, did everything but not eat. It
Nose
just
to the bait, sniffing it.
multiple times, just tried to cut it off. It would get up to eat it and then just shake its head no, like something's wrong. I don't know if it's just smelled the rubber or what, but it did say smell you later.
She I think like she didn't she sink down, we kind of lost her, and then like on your next cast, like, oh, here she comes again.
Yeah,
We
yeah, she
Right
was
drifted
back
off
in.
playful.
the point. We drifted, yeah, that too, and then we drifted off the point. We made our way back and like literally got back on the waypoint I put when
Oh
you're in the
yeah,
figure eight. And also I'm like, dude, she's coming up again. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah,
But
nah,
she wouldn't do it.
she's a smart old brute, man. That was one of those that would have needed to eat, on out on the cast, I think. Would like to say I'd love to have the figure eight back, but there's really nothing else on that one I would have done. It was not one of those where I looked back on it saying like, oh, I wish I would have done something different. Just, I'm very apt to go hand up when I feel like it's something went screwy in the eight, but the fish never, it was very curious, but it never did the thing where it felt like it was gonna truly charge up and like open its mouth. Um,
Yeah.
so it was on the bait, for four, five, six turns. It just was not eating. It just would not go. So,
It
and it
felt
and
like
it
an
just kept
eternity.
losing interest like every turn. It just would be
Yeah.
like a little bit lazier, a little bit further. I'm like, this is not going in the right direction right now. That
Right.
first corner, it was like so hot, and it just came up to the bait, and I was explaining to Gus, Brian saw it, but like the first turn, it followed it around like super hot. Came back in to do the second turn and like it disappeared. And typically when they disappear, it's like they're either gone or they're gonna come up, and cut it off and eat it. And sure enough, like I saw her kind of turn and come up to cut it off. And like as her nose was literally keying in on the center of the bulldog, she just like shook it to the left and was like, nope, that's not a bait fish. And like went down, and then Gus was telling me like just to keep going, and I just kept going. And, like she came back up on the fourth, fifth turn, but that time she was already like lazier and just coasting and not swimming really or doing much, and she
It
just
was super
hung
cool to
around, but
watch.
super
That
cool
that
to watch.
That
Yeah.
like first or second wide turn, kind of out to your right, she came like with decent speed and was going the same speed as your bait with her nose like against it. And in my head, I'm like, she's gonna do it, she's gonna do it. And I
Yeah, I
just
was
like
like,
knew you were like holding your breath, like
oh,
getting ready
I
to
was.
set it.
Did
And
you hear me breathing, man? I was like, my breath was
yeah, I could tell
shaky.
you, yeah, you were getting
I was
shaky.
like, oh,
I mean, it
oh
made
God.
my knees shake a little. I was like,
Oh
holy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
He
she
But
had
was. Yeah.
they were describing it being fast, and I saw it flash on a couple of the left side turns closer to me because there's a bad glare, and it was going around long enough that I had my bait set down and my right hand on the net. So
Oh yeah. No, I mean, it could have happened. It just didn't happen. But that's the way she goes. And honestly, just, when you go up to a place like that, like Brian, I think said on the pod last week, it's like I just want to see one of those big vermilion blondes, come up in the eight. And yeah, we got your wish
yeah.
for sure. So
Yeah,
that was
I'd have
cool.
been really mad if if we fished all weekend and never got a glimpse of a giant. So I was very happy to see it go around the eight, 5, 10 times. And when we were watching it, it felt like minutes. Like it felt like we were sitting
Yeah.
there watching that thing forever.
Time slowed way down.
Yeah, which made it a little bit more painful then when she never showed up again. But
Oh,
still
yeah, I'd
really cool
go.
to see, and it's definitely motivating to go back.
Yeah, I mean
hmm
that's a low 50s PB type fish for sure. Just built like an absolute freight train. Would have just been absolute mayhem to hook a fish like that in the figure eight.
Yeah, yeah, we lost it.
fun.
Would have been sweet. So,
Ayo.
um,
You had another one come up, swipe and miss that mag double dog.
and I'm
About
realizing I'm not looking too good in this spot, am I?
no, no, no. And yeah, that was a nice one too. 40
No.
44-ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, dog. I mean, shit, you're out in the front of the boat, you're gonna get the action. But
I mean that was only like 50 yards maybe from
oh
the giant
yeah,
girl. Like he moved it 10 minutes later, it felt like. So there
there's
was
a
some big
ridiculous
fish
amount of
hanging.
fish on that spot.
Yeah.
The few you had up on the backside, Brian, before I caught the one and we saw the megas, those weren't small. I mean,
Yeah.
those weren't like tiny little guys. But no, then we finally went back to our pets, and I think on your like first, second, or third cast on the spot, like I was saying, like you roll up to a spot, and if you do roll up on spot, like you could get these muskies in like a cast or two. Max gets the old throttle halfway back, and he was not letting this one go um, at all. Hit the pounder with full force. That video is pretty solid. You do a sweep. You're actually ripping it like not at a slow speed, I'd say, when it hit, and you go into one, and you can feel like how you start to load the rod into your rip, and you'd be done with it, but you feel it, and you just do the double, full set rod doubles over, fish on.
That was the first bite that weekend that I actually felt the old tick and then wait, where I think it was
Yeah.
like, the fish actually, swallowed it, pushed it forward, had the bait in its mouth, slacked me, and got to set. So that was sweet. Glad that one hit the bag. Otherwise, I would have been on full calm suey watch, nose dive right in the water type type vibe. So
Brian would be like, yo, 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 yo.
Yeah.
Don't go after it.
yeah, so
Cold ass
no,
water.
that one was good. Two fish day on the Big V so far was nice. Vibes are very high. Um, and yeah, I think we just kind of kept hopping spots, man. We moved some giant fish that day. Gus, you had up a couple blimps.
I
I
finally
think
did. I finally got to see. I raised yours that you had probably possibly lost earlier in the day. It's lazy on a Phantom, and then I raised a big Blimpatron off of a fairly unassuming spot. We got led to good friend Mark, shout out, um, on this area where we kind of rolled up to it, and I was like, I don't know, but there's a couple parts of it that look decent on avionics, and sure as shit, as soon as it went from like, not that great looking, and I'm like, oh, now it's starting to look good, and then immediately it's like, oh, here's one, and it's very, 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 very big, probably 50-ish or bigger. I don't know, a hazy glow below the Monster Dusa, and side image one more, so we knew there's two there, and the other one did not look small. And then we made a game plan that was late enough in the day where it's like, okay, we don't
oh,
have a lot of time
Brian had
left.
one up there that was hotter than shit that I thought ate.
Oh yeah. So we
Yeah.
saw both of them.
Yeah, he's in the front of the
That's
boat at
right.
this point, and he had one
What was
come
I
scream. I thought
throwing
it
there?
you were throwing that Savage Gear L tail or the Cisco, whatever it's called, the
Is that
Savage
what?
Gear.
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Savage gear. It's
multi-tailed
got
one.
triple tail. Yeah.
has
X-tail.
this X tail, sweet looking bait. I thought it ate because remember I was like, oh, he's got
Yeah.
it, and I
Yeah.
got his mouth was literally on the tails. Like I think the
Oh, I
tails
didn't
were
see this
covering his
one.
face.
Yeah.
It is a good
Bad player
fish, like
again.
45, 46.
Yeah.
I mean that I don't know, man. That lake has got so many fish in it.
Yeah.
They've
It's
done a great
crazy.
job. I mean, I know
I'm
people
sure.
love
I'm sure. Like I don't. It's so random. Muskies are muskies, but like we felt, especially on Saturday, like it was going to be a perfect storm of conditions, and that these fish were going to eat and be dumb muskies, and didn't quite turn out that way. We didn't get many nuclear fish on a bait in the 8 and whatnot, but. That is a lake where it feels like, right place, right time. Like you could go out there and catch a few fish over 45, over 48, and like they're there and they're on assuming spots. And they'll show themselves like we saw, but if you just get a day with the right conditions or something to trigger them to actually open their mouth, I mean, there's a lot of good fish in there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, why, so like the third fish for them we ended up catching on Saturday, I got another one and it was another, smaller fish in the 30s. And so I don't know if that day, like the smaller fish were just going a little better, but I mean, we did get, some nice fish to the boat and also had a big one eat. So it's like a couple things fall differently and
Yeah.
could just ends up being a banger day, but it was still a great day. I mean, getting three fish out there on a day was pretty awesome. So, but yeah, it's just like you were saying, it just feels like a couple different things fall your way or a light switch flips on at the right time and you're in the right area. Like, God dang. Because I mean, even after I caught my bigger one, Gus had one up like the same size, if not a little bigger, like two casts later.
Yeah.
So it's just like it was
Oh
it was
yeah,
pretty
like
nuts
one
on
cast
Saturday.
later. It
Yeah, I
was
mean,
that
I
was crazy.
trying to even piece the day together at this point. I mean, probably raised visually 15 to 20 fish that day if I had to
It was
if I had to
nuts.
guess.
Yeah,
Maybe more. It was every spot it felt like, these aren't super long days. You're talking from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. So,
basically. Damn, yeah. If we put it that way. But we
yeah,
fish
it was
hard.
fun. It was
No
so fun.
breaks.
Saturday was so fun. It was just, it was sweet. I
Good
just kept,
day.
I kept thinking Brian was going to lay into an absolute tank. I can't believe it didn't happen. I was so convinced.
Yeah. I was hoping
First
to.
time fishing there.
It would be, it is like, it's kind of giving the same feel as like when we first went out on the Chippewa Flowage the first time. You're just looking around. It's like, God, you could spend, 10 years out here. Like, it would take you forever to learn this and fish every spot and figure out what's good and what's not. And, um, yeah, it's, we always love going to like new lakes in northern Wisconsin just to have that new, like, all right, find some good spots in this new lake, figure out new body of water. That lake feels, it would feel like a new lake, for a good whole year of fishing it. Like you could go to new spots all the time out there.
Yeah.
That's what would be fun too. Like we only really got to fish 2 days, and if you had a good week up there, I mean, there's so much water to fish, and you probably learn so much too.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was gonna. I mean, we can, I guess, kind of recap it after we get through Sunday. But um, you kind of mentioned we had 2 days of fish. Sunday, unfortunately, the wind kicked up, and that was just such a kick in the
Ripping.
nuts because honestly, it felt like if the weather was the same as it was on Saturday, I feel like we really would have gotten some good chances at some nice fish on Sunday. Just kind of having a few addresses pegged and there's that big moon phase in the morning, which felt pretty automatic that you were going to get a bite or see a fish on. So, to have one more day where we could have casted that moon phase would have been awesome. But, we ended up trolling. Shout out to all those guys that were casting out there. We were in correspondence with a few of them. Man, I don't know how they were doing it. It was absolutely ripping,
Yeah.
probably gusting up to 40 miles an hour. The lake was very angry. Did
Both
manage
footers.
another. Yeah, 4 footers with some Rogue fives. Um,
Pretty easy living.
and I ended up trolling up one fish, small one, and that was the extent of Sunday,
Hey,
unfortunately.
we
I had
lost
to
a rip.
lost rib too. Yep,
Made a
true.
hard rip and lost it. Yeah.
My extent this Sunday really, like, I'm really glad I saw that side of the lake because it does feel like way different than the east side. We went down into some, not like skinnier water, but more narrow, kind of less open basin side of the
That's what a
lake.
lot of the West is. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
headed that way.
Yeah, kind of heading out to like the main part of the West Lake, but um super cool stuff to see. We saw like, just trolling around some great giant, boulders and chunk rock and stuff. We're like, fuck, like I wish we could cast this, but it's just
Yeah.
whipping winds. It was like
Oh
a
my God.
steady like 20 something gusting to 30, 40 something. I mean, it was
It's
constant wind.
nasty.
Getting
It
wet
was
driving
gnarly.
around and
It was gnarly. Yeah,
yeah.
Gus was soaked head to toe, just trolling, running the boat. He was a trooper, man. He did not want to quit either.
To their
Um,
life.
no,
Yeah.
it was gnarly out there, and it was just fun. Yeah, we got to explore that side of the lake, and I think like to learn from the trip. Yeah, I would say if we do it next year, a couple things that I probably would say is like I think we did a good job at playing the weather as best we could. Working on a limited time schedule for all of us to go up there, but try to do it when we're feeling good about the extended forecast, and then also try to have like 4 or 5 days to fish it all. Not
Right.
all, but to fish more of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Longer
you
trip would
definitely
be
need it.
nice.
Yeah, like I drove home Sunday feeling like
Come
I
on.
was
We had
I was
more.
like, yeah, we need more. I need another day. Need another chance.
Had more
Yeah.
gas in the tank.
But
I
honestly, I,
feel
I
that.
like I felt I was shocked. I like I've driven back from Minneapolis before, and it's like, holy shit, this drive will not end. Like, it's taking forever. And that's, 4.5, 5 hours, and 6.5 hours of Vermilion for me. I mean, the drive wasn't too painful at all, and didn't see a ton of deer, dodged all the ones I did see, which was a success. So,
Good
the
job,
nice thing
Brian.
about driving up there is
Yeah,
it's
Brian.
two-lane highway all the way until north of Duluth somewhere, really. I think it's only about an
About
hour. That's a little county highway.
not even. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
nice.
not hard to get to. I mean, I would, yeah, love to do it again with you fellows. Had an absolute blast. It was a cool bender weekend for sure. True adventure.
Yeah,
Among one of my favorites.
for
That's for damn
sure.
sure.
Yeah,
Now we just
and
gotta
Sweet
rough it in
Vermilion.
Canada one of these times. That's next on the docket, per usual.
something
Probably.
about those big giant blondes up in Vermilion though that just I don't know.
Blondes or brunettes, guys? I'm gonna say blondes.
Greens or blondes. I don't
Oof.
know. It's a lot of pride with the home state, so it's tough for me just to be like, oh man, love the
I don't know. You're
Minnesota
putting
fish.
greens in
But
there.
there is something about seeing a 50-inch fish in the eight, and I haven't seen that in years and years of fishing in Wisconsin. I see it on the second day in Minnesota, so it's
Minnesota's
cool.
just straight stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah. It'll always be Wisconsin, but like Vermilion, I think is a little different than all the other Minnesota lakes we've fished, you know.
yeah.
It's it's you got to really flex your mental muscle to figure that place out, and I think that's what makes it pretty sweet.
Absolutely. I completely agree there. Yeah, great weekend. I think we pretty much dialed in everything we saw, catches, kind of what we're fishing, how we were fishing it, how we attacked it. Working with that 46 to 48 water temps, give or take, pretty much the whole weekend. Um, yeah, I mean, the whitefish were doing things. Not as much as I thought, but still good. I think it was pretty good timing leading up into the full moon and solid weather. You know, got to cast majority of the times, and then it would have been cool if it wind kicked up to a normal speed, but 40-mile-an-hour gusts were uh, those were no joke out there.
No, it was not. Um, but yeah, no, it was great. You know, I think the MVPs of the week for bait wise was the obviously the XL dipstick, getting that one fish.
Shout
Unfortunately,
out.
did not see another fish on it, but one for one on that one. Pounder with a it was actually a shallow pounder with a head weight on it.
The one that got hit of yours was it was like a white and green pounder.
Yeah.
And I think Becker had one similar that he was calling Yoshi, so something similar, white and green. Got her done.
What color is that, Gus? Does that have it was a show color, I think, right?
Thorn show color from a couple years ago, at
Okay.
least.
It's Yoshi now.
Yoshi.
Chinese double mag dog with the little squiggly T-Rex
Yeah,
arms.
hey, they need to make that again because there is something to that thing where it was just immediately moving fish in the two hole too, which was
Double
impressive.
fish.
Oh, Max
I
got shitty
love
service.
that thing. Fan,
Cutting
I
out
would
on us.
say those were the weekend.
Hold on.
What'd you say? Say that
Pause, pause,
again.
Oh,
pause.
what?
Yeah, your
I
service
said
is really
10-inch
bad.
Phantom was the
Oh,
other.
there you are.
Oh,
Oh
there you are.
no. Oh
No, you're
no.
good. You've never really had issues.
Uh,
10-inch Phantom was the other
yeah.
MVP.
Yeah. We got.
Eh,
Well,
Uh,
anyways, yeah, we need to lobby for Muskie Innovations to make a double dog with the little swirly tiny arms out the side and the big bulging eyes like the old originals because whatever it is with that little different vibration, a little different water pushing it's got was moving fish.
Unfortunately, you probably are blacklisted from Muskie Innovations per your comments on the quad dog, so
Why?
don't think they're going to be listening to you.
What?
Those were a while ago. Nobody even remembers.
We bring it up enough that they do.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not gonna say I was right. I'm not here to say I was right. I'm just saying.
They're just digging your hole deeper, brother.
Yeah, the double dog though, that old double dog, I think special.
That's hey, what happened to Two Tails? Come on now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's good stuff. Well, yeah, that's Vermilion for you guys. Good old recap. Had an absolute blast. Let's I don't know, to
Want to
wrap it
save
up
it?
here. What's
Save it
up?
for next week? Want to save it for another week when we have some more on the lines? Or
Yeah,
you want
that's
to
probably
play?
not a bad idea. Yeah, we'll just I'll give a little rundown for the old up north. I'm sure most people are in the woods. If you are still in the water, making it up to the old great northern Wisconsin, I advise buying suckers. I advise starting to use some bigger suckers. I would also advise keeping them deeper, checking on windblown and going to the mud to sand transitions off of the brake lines. We are still finding a couple fish sitting up in 5 to 10 feet of water ish, weed edges ish, kind of working those, but a lot of them are going a little bit more on the hard bottom, deeper extensions of sand to the mud, whether it's got gravel on it, cribs on it, big rock, steep drop offs are the key part of this too. Into the deeper water of the lakes, whether it's a hole or just a deeper shoreline or deeper end of an island or bar. And yeah, once you find them, once you image one, you're probably going to see more, go back and forth, and wait for the bite windows to open up. Those are kind of the big late season tips I got there. Otherwise, troll. I'll be trolling a good bit, but you know, those patterns are going to start shortly. Cisco spawn shortly. Not there yet. Super close though. Gotta wait for more of that 40 to 43-ish water temp, and we are getting close. Some of the super shallow stain stuff is pretty much getting there to there. Um, but you're gonna see more on the mid to upper 40s on the deep clear stuff. But we have a mega cold front coming, and everything's gonna drop to the low to mid 40s at warmest, and fishing's gonna be awesome for the short days we're gonna have, I assume
We're
and
gonna
hope.
get that November, that classic November heat up at all? You think over the next couple weeks?
Probably,
Yeah.
probably will, knowing the
Guaranteed.
weather. Oh, there's a cold front. It's gonna last forever. No, no, we'll
Kind
probably
of
rain
hoping
again.
that I'm hoping selfishly that you do, so I can still get up and do some open water fishing over Thanksgiving.
Probably should hopefully be able to. I mean, last couple of years historically, it's been fine. It's been actually quite a few lakes so you can go fish. Um, so yeah, we're gonna be running it right to the end of November. So um, not as popular of a time to fish, but can be very good. Sometimes the days can be tough, really tough. But damn, when it's good, it is like highly, highly rewarding. Um,
Them big
you
girls will
know,
show up.
the big girls will slide
I'd
up.
say numbers too. Feeding windows go crazy in late November.
Yeah, you got to be on top of your shit when they start going. Like you get anywhere from 10 to like 45 minutes at best. That just
And you can
sounds
catch your
like kind
three
of just
fish that day.
yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds kind of depressing. Every once in a while, it feels like it happens more often with trolling. You get those days where it's like every hour you get a bite if you hit it just right. But otherwise, no, it's moon phase. Watching the
Yeah.
moon phases and about 2 hours before sunset is another like, leading into that 2 to 3 p.m. time frame is money.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the
Yep.
snow.
Yeah. And then I'm not even gonna say it. We're not
Okay, I
there.
know. I
Nah,
was gonna
nah,
say
nah,
I'm
nah,
cutting you
nah,
off
nah,
there.
nah.
No,
Nice.
no, no,
Cut the
no,
Not
tape,
me.
cut
We're
the
not there
tape.
yet. Not there
no,
yet,
no,
guys.
no. Quick thing before you take us away, Brian.
Oh,
I got some merch on the website, www.sugsfishing.com, SEGS Fishing. Go check out the podcast, Instagram, Facebook, Muskies on Tap, and Sugs Fishing on Instagram, Facebook. That's where we post some cool stuff sometimes here and there. So check that out. Please be sure to maybe give us a review, share, like, subscribe, comment, agree, disagree. Uh,
Sponsorship.
Sponsorship, Spawny, hit us up. You know where to find us on the Mott line. Oh,
hit my
and
line.
send your on the lines, please. We want more people. If you are listening and you love those, Q&As and the on the line segments where people are sending in questions, voicemails, we love them. We want more. That'll
Give me,
definitely
get,
keep us going.
we can't be the only people with a voice on here with a hot sports take. I mean, NFL playoffs gonna be creeping up. We got college
Yeah.
basketball
Let's
starting.
go.
Get on the
Yeah.
line and let me hear some scolding hot takes.
The fact that nobody called in this week to fire Matt LaFleur it's I'm starting to lose some faith in you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
listenership is gone up, great this summer, but at the same time, we're not getting we're not getting as many on the line. So I don't know if people are getting nervous or what's going on here, but we need some guys to get some takes off their chest. So if
Mm,
you got something to complain about, you just want to get something out in the ether,
yeah.
we're your guys. Hit us
Uh-huh.
up.
We don't judge, nothing. Just good banter.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Just shoot us a message on Instagram, Facebook, or text my cell on how to do that. Voice memo apps. Leave a voicemail to 920-264-3816. That'll do it, Brian. Brian, take us away.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Buskies on Tap. Shout out to Lake Vermilion for having us this past weekend. Absolute banger of a weekend. Could have been
Shut
absolutely
up.
legendary if those damn fish would open their mouths a little bit more. Have to do it again sometime in the near distant future, although I would probably take a Canada trip before it. But guys, as I
Damn.
said minutes ago, college basketball is starting off. Watch a little bit last night. It's good to get back in the flow of this thing. See all the bucket getters at a young age out there.
Mm.
Whole new
Anyone to
teams
keep an eye on?
all
Anyone to keep an eye
around.
on?
Oh yeah, a lot of places keep it on. I'm still trying to familiarize myself with these rosters because between the freshmen that are coming in, great freshman class, and the amount of transfers from last year,
Crazy
it is
transfer
hard to
portal.
keep it's hard to keep track of every team. But man, I was impressed with Duke last night. If they could shoot the ball, that seems to be the problem. If they can shoot the three ball, they're gonna make a run again, whether you love them or hate them. I'm gonna have to watch some more ball though to get a full debrief on some of my favorites this year. But as always, guys, drink beer. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.